that darn card scraper out. There are so many people that have trouble creating a burr on this card scraper to create nice shavings. You just saw some dust. That's not what you want. You want some nice shavings. I actually have some shavings here from previously, but you want shavings. You followed all the steps. You looked at a million videos on YouTube. You're still not getting the shavings. There are a couple tricks that I find that people kind of miss out on all these YouTube videos, and even in the books, there are a couple very key concepts that people miss out on. And I pretty much promise you that you will have success almost every single time doing it the method that I showed you. If you know anything about card scrapers, you're trying to create a burr here. This is exaggerated, but you're bending metal or pushing metal to create this burr. And that's what creates the shavings. So I'm going to show you how I do it, and this is based on experience personally, and also in my woodworking club, where we had about 50 people trying card scrapers of various types and burnishers of various types, and we tested them, and we found out that there is actually one, which is probably the most popular, one burnisher that ruins a lot of people's success. And there are some other burnishers which are meh, but there are one or two that are really, really good burnishers. And it also depends on the steel that you're using. So this is a Lee Valley PMV 11, so it's pretty hard steel. So you need a really good, high quality, hard burnisher for that. And you'll see the burnisher I'm going to recommend. I'm not paid by any of these companies, but there is one in particular that everybody seems to have success with, and it's so much easier to use than any of the other burnishers. So you must follow the steps in order to have success. But if you follow those steps in order, you still might not have success if you're using the wrong tools. So let me show you the steps, and then I'm going to show you the tools that I recommend and why. The first thing is to use a metal file, and you can do this. Create a slot, put the file in a piece of wood, and that will help you create a 90-degree angle on your edge when you're using it. The downside is this surface will wear out quicker because you're using the same surface. But otherwise, if you're, you could use a block of wood if you have a wide enough file, but you do want to try to make sure you're 90 degrees to the edge. So what you'll want to do is, if you go with this method, just put the piece of wood in the vise, and first thing you're going to want to do is remove the existing burr. So I could still kind of run my fingernail on part of it, but it's pretty worn out. But I should be able to ride my fingernail all across it, and I cannot. But we want to remove all that. So one of the important things is to make sure the entire surface is covered either with your fingers or a block of wood. So I'm going to use the fingers here on this side. And you can kind of tell when you're there, you'll feel less resistance all of a sudden. There won't be as much drag. And you could tilt it just minimally, like 1/4 of a degree, just to kind of give you that the ruler trick type of thing. But you don't have to. So I'm doing both sides this way. I kind of felt it give way there. Okay, and then we'll use the 90-degree fence here. And if you're not sure how many strokes to take, you might want to do it in the beginning. Just put some markers on there and make sure that you're getting the whole thing. Or put layout fluid if you really want to. Again, with this, you'll kind of feel it give way. I'm pretty sure I already did. And I don't have any marker left on there. So that's step one. Now, if you want to do it, so we did this side. Another option is to take a wooden block and kind of run it this way. I kind of like the fingers better. It seems like you can get more pressure down on there. So this is really dragging, and then it just kind of gave way. Now we'll do this side. Now at this point, the order doesn't matter of whether you're doing this face surface or the edge surface first, but I think it does matter at the end. Okay, now we're at the 300 grit stone, and first thing I'll do is, so I'll do the edge now first, and then I do the face. Edge first, then face. So you may not be able to see it too well here, but I'm using this block, and you kind of rotate it around. Just 10 or 20 passes is usually enough. Do the other side if you want. If you're using so this is a 300 grit diamond stone, but if you're using a ceramic stone or some other kind of natural stone, you'll definitely want to be moving this block around. So that keeps it square. I've done both edges. Now we're going to do the face. And again, I can either use a block and press like that. Press like that. That way you get pressure everywhere. If you're just kind of holding it here, that center is not going to be pressed down enough. These are too flexible. It's not like a plane blade. So you got to press down everywhere. That's a thing you don't hear too often, is pressing down on the entire length of that scraper. So now we'll do the other side. This way, if you do the face first and then the edge, you'll get a little bit of burr, but you don't want that burr. You want to draw out the burr with the burnisher. So that's why I kind of do it this way first. I'm not sure if it matters. It might not matter, but I do it that way. So the next we'll go do the same thing with the 1000 grit, and that's where I usually stop. Sometimes I'll do 6000 grit. Okay, and we'll do the same thing here. Same thing here. I used to use the block a lot. I'm liking the fingers a little better. Side 4. Now, so you can also actually do the ends if you want, but it's kind of hard to use that. I don't know anybody that really does. Okay. So what have we done so far? We've used the file, and we used 2 different grits, 300 and 1000 grit. We've done the same thing. The edge, then the face. All 4 sides. Use the block as a reference. So that's where we're at so far. So the next step you cannot forget. You must do this or it will not work. So I have 3 different burnishers here. This is the one that I don't like. And when we had our woodworking club meeting, our local woodworking club meeting, this is the crown burnisher. This was a poor burnisher. I don't know why exactly, but most people had problems with it. If they did get their scraper to work, it wasn't working as well. Okay, so I don't like it. I don't know exactly what's wrong with it. It might be the hardness. It might be the roughness. But multiple people brought in this crown burnisher. They sell it at Woodcraft, I believe, in Rockler. So it's pretty popular, but it doesn't work. Now somebody brought in a Lee Valley. It was kind of an oblong burnisher. That worked. Somebody had a piece of carbide from, I think, a router on a piece of wood. That worked. And there's this thing. This is a Omia, German company. And what it is it's a wheel. So this is not for burnishing. This is for making the burr. You run your card in here, and it creates a burr. And I don't know if this is carbide or just some probably not, just some very hard steel. And you could rotate that wheel if it ever gets worn out. I used to use this, but this is what I like the best. This is Arno, A-R-N-O.
Kind of pricey, 40 bucks or something, 30 bucks when I bought it. I'm guessing 40 bucks now. I don't know. But here's the key. And one of my friends showed me this. He's the one that got me to use this. The key is this. That triangle puts so much pressure on to a single point that you need very little pressure when you're creating a burr. So it has the triangular carbide triangle there, and then there's the round part here. Can you see that? Let's see. There's the round part here, triangle on the other side. See that? So everyone had success with this. Very few had success with this. And then the other ones I can't vouch for 100%. You cannot use only this for your burnishing for the face of this card. So you need some other type of burnisher with this. So this just creates the edge. So they used to call these things ticketer. So you know, if you listen to the noise, that's why they called it a ticketer. Move this camera a little bit. Made the ticketing noise. But what you do have to, so I'm going to use the round side on this now. And I'll put it right, just barely overlapping the edge of my workbench. And some people wet this. I don't. I don't see any difference. And what I'm doing is I'm dragging it and kind of drawing out. So I'm starting on this part. By the time I get to the end, I'm on this part. So, and I'm flat, maybe a quarter of a degree. I mean, just, but I'm pretty flat, and I'm just burnishing. So you can go back and forth, or you can just draw it out this way if you want. So you got to burnish this. I don't understand the metallurgy behind all that. Some of the guys in my woodworking club do, but I just know it works. If you don't do this, you get poor results. It usually does not work. This one, you can't get the ticketing noise as much. So you want to really, and you want to make sure that you don't lift up. If anything, you gotta lift the toe of this up just a millimeter or less. But generally, you want it as flat as you can. And how many times you do that, I don't know. Usually I just do like maybe 10 passes. And flip that over. So we've done all four, we've burnished all four sides. Now if you go to YouTube and you watch people use their burnisher, they're going to stick that card scraper in a vise, and you'll see them put quite a bit of pressure on there. Right? Now, this one, because all the pressure is concentrated on this triangle, you really don't need much pressure at all. I got just the corner in there, and my buddy Ken, when he showed how to do this, he had it in the air. Maybe my fingers aren't quite as strong, but I usually just put the corner down in there as a reference. Now, if you look at this, my tool, what I do is I get my tool handle perpendicular to the scraper, and that automatically gives me the angle that I need, because this triangle is you know, at an angle. I sometimes might cheat and go down like that, but if you go too steep, it's not going to work. So, oops, sorry, let's get this camera here. So, 1, 2, 3. Usually you'll feel resistance. There, I just felt it. It just kind of changed the resistance. It was slipping, and then all of a sudden, a little more resistance. Now, what I'm doing is running my fingernail on there. Make sure, yeah, so it runs the whole way. Well, one skipped on one spot, so I'm going to go back and do it again. There. It's almost like a change in sound you'll hear. So that's the one side. So that's one side. Now we'll do the second side. It already changed sound. Slipped off a little right there, so I don't have So we'll hit it again. Yeah, that's good. So I can run my fingernail all the way across. Right, okay. So we did that edge. Let's do the other edge. So now I flipped it over. And one. Again, you can use some kind of water or something if you want. Okay, so that's good. I feel the edge there. And then we'll do the same thing here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I felt it drag more. You definitely feel it drag. Okay, so that's it. Now let's test it out and see what we get. All right, let's see how it works here. Now, if you've never used the scraper before, put it almost vertically, bend, and keep pushing and keep angling down until you feel it engage. Okay, so up, then you'll kind of learn your angle. So for me, it's about right here. So that's one side. Let's check the other side, make sure that works. Oh yeah, you can really feel it catch. So that's two sides. Sometimes I'm not 100%. Yeah, this side, it's good, but not great. Yeah, a little dusty there, but okay. And then this side's really catching. So I could go back. So let's see, that was this side was the one that I wasn't fully pleased with. Yeah, it's not that good there. So let's wipe that off. This is the bad side. So we'll hit that with the burnisher one more time. And you can do that in the beginning, but just don't do it. You can try it, like to try to refresh it, but usually it doesn't work. Just go through the process. Without me explaining, it would actually take a lot less time, maybe about 2 minutes, 3 minutes. So that's better. It's still not good. So let's see. Sometimes it does, like one side doesn't work, and I think I'm probably out of luck here. I could have over bent it. Let's see. Oh, that's good. Now we got it. There we go. So that's how you do it. Sometimes it's the golfer. Usually it's the golfer and not the golf club or the golf ball. But in this case, it's often the burnisher. If you follow all the steps and you do it properly, it should work. Why doesn't it work? I do believe it's because of the tool that you're using is not correct. It's not hard enough and it's not concentrated enough to put a good consistent burr on your scraper. So give the Arno should be paying me for this, but they're not. Try the Arno one, where I think the Lee Valley is pretty good too, and the Lee Nielsen, they're both pretty good. They have some sort of plastic one too at Lee Valley. I don't know the results of that. You let me know if you've had good success with that burnisher. But they have like a rod that they sell at Lee Valley, I believe. But yeah, you should get good results. I pretty much guarantee if you use this combination, follow all the steps that I showed you, you're going to have good results with the card scraper.